Well, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am Dr. Victoria Jewel Hart, and I appreciate you listening to my message today on being a hero. I'd like to take a moment of silence for prayer, please. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart please be acceptable in your sight. I ask that everyone within the range of hearing my voice be blessed and touched tenfold by the time that they're taking to listen to me today. I ask that they feel led to pass on the message that may bless another that they do so. And I ask for their safe travels back home. Amen. So let's get started. John Marks Templeton quotes that great heroes are humble, unquote. Is humility vastly undervalued in our modern Western culture? Many people consider pride and aggressive behavior as virtues and humility as a weakness. Could this be because the true meaning of humility isn't clearly understood? Is it possible that some people may, through lack of understanding, equate humility with being passive and long-suffering and with having a sense of inferiority? The true meaning of humility is realizing that the personal self is a vehicle of higher power. Jesus of Nazareth said, quote, "It is not I, but the Father within me that does the work," unquote, in John 14:10. Other spiritual leaders have also recognized that the true genius contained as a deep sense of personal humility. The great scientist Albert Einstein maintained a strong sense of humility and was known for his childlike simplicity. Walter Russell, a genius in many fields, remarked, quote, "Until one learns to lose himself, he cannot find himself," unquote. The personal ego must be dissolved and replaced by the universal ego. What is the difference between the universal ego and the personal ego? The personal ego may be what many people consider the bodily self. It identifies with appearance, achievements, possessions, separateness, and personal opinions. It can also be overly competitive, controlling, and may feel hurt or angry if it doesn't get what it wants. The personal ego often tries to solve problems through human effort without seeking assistance in spiritual wisdom. Could rigid creeds also be formed of personal ego? The universal ego, the spiritual self, is an individualized center of divine consciousness. We often don't see this higher self because we may be blinded by identification with the centered ego. It's like trying to see the stars in the blaze of the midday sun. They are present in the universe but obscured by the light of the sun. Only with the setting of the sun do we see these heavenly lights. As we become more willing to release the selfish ego, can we open up the door to greater communication with the universal ego or divine spirit? Could humility be the real basis for developing the spiritual life? Humility has been considered a gateway to greater understanding. Can humility mark the beginning of a process helping you to become more productive and open-minded? Could humility develop an awareness of consecrated oneness with all humanity? When we establish a feeling of oneness with others, do we immediately expand our consciousness and spirituality and happiness? In his teaching about the path of discipline essential for those who sought to know God, Rumi told the story of 3 pearls, and it's one of my favorites. I'm going to share that with you right now. Quote, "When God created the pure body of Adam, he drew it out of the earth and breathed into it his sacred breath and said to Gabriel, quote, 'Take from the sea of my omnipotence 3 pearls, place them on a plate of light and present them to Adam so he can choose one,' unquote." So the 3 pearls were reason, faith, and humility. Gabriel presented the plate to Adam and told Adam what God wanted. Adam, illumined by the divine light, chose the pearl of reason. Gabriel wanted to take back the plate with the 2 pearls it still held to the sea of omnipotence. But because of their heaviness, he did not have the strength to lift them. So the pearls of faith and humility then said to him, quote, "We cannot separate ourselves from the holy company of our friend Reason. Without him, we cannot establish ourselves firmly or even exist. During ancient times, we were all 3 the jewels of the mind of the divine glory. The pearls of the sea of the omnipotent are inseparable," unquote. Then the voice of God rang out, quote, "Gabriel, leave the 2 pearls where they are and return," unquote. So reason installed itself at the peak of the human intellect. Faith lodged itself in Adam's pure and sensitive heart, and humility reigned on his holy face. These 3 pearls are the heritage of the children of Adam. Every child descended from Adam who is not adorned by the 3 pearls and does not shine with their brilliance is shut off from the light and deprived of authentic gnosis, unquote. If we desire to grow spiritually, how much of the ego must be transcended by the divine universal ego? Do we become clear channels for unlimited love and divine wisdom when we are not self-centered? Can there be a loss when we move to a higher level of usefulness and awareness? Or is growth simply taking place? How can learning to be humble and lead to greatness in our lives? When a person truly has something to offer to the world, does that person become more humble? Through increasingly daily awareness, could we discover that humility is its own reward? Does acknowledging humbly that we know only a little of God's truth indicate we are agnostic? If a medical doctor can admit with an open mind that no one has yet understood all diseases, symptoms, and cures, can we humbly admit we need to search for over 100-fold more spiritual information? Through humility, we can begin to gain a deeper and truer perspective of the creative process